Imagine sitting down for a meal where the main course is roasted flamingo or even camel. The table is set with dishes that seem almost mythical to us today, but for ancient diners, these were real possibilities, an invitation to a world of flavors and customs that might surprise even the most adventurous eaters. In the ancient world, these were real dishes, not fantasy. Banquets were opportunities to showcase rare ingredients and culinary skill, and the menu was often a reflection of the host's wealth and connections. People ate foods that would shock us today, dormice fattened in jars, carefully raised as delicacies, and served to impress guests with their rarity and taste. Peacocks arrived at the table with their brilliant feathers still attached, a spectacle as much as a meal. Even insects, which might make us squeamish, were considered a normal part of the diet in many ancient cultures, valued for their protein and unique flavor. These meals were about more than hunger. They reflected culture, status, and identity. Sharing such exotic foods was a way to display power, hospitality, and even a sense of adventure. Everyday diets relied on geese, ducks, goats, sheep, and cattle for meat and milk. These animals were the backbone of daily sustenance, providing essential nutrition for families across generations. But for the wealthy, the menu became adventurous, a way to show off and experience the world through food. The more unusual the dish, the greater the prestige, and the more memorable the gathering. Insects, for example, were a normal protein source in many places. Grasshoppers, beetles, and other critters were not only eaten, but sometimes even considered sweets. What's considered exotic is all about perspective. A delicacy in one place is ordinary. The foods that seem strange to us might be comfort food to someone else and vice versa. Exploring ancient kitchens connects us to people from thousands of years ago. We see their ingenuity in using every available resource, turning humble ingredients into feasts that brought communities together. By understanding what they ate, we glimpse their values and worldview. Food choices reveal what was important, whether survival, celebration, or social standing. Food is a universal language, telling stories of survival, celebration, and power. Across continents and centuries, sharing a meal has always been a way to connect. The diversity of ancient diets is a testament to human creativity. From the simplest grains to the most elaborate roasts, people have always found ways to make meals meaningful. Let's pull up a chair and see what was really on the menu. Imagine the sights, smells, and sounds of a feast that brought people together in ways both familiar and strange. The animals on the table told a story. Each dish was chosen for a reason, whether to honor the gods, impress a guest, or simply celebrate the harvest. These meals were about more than just eating. They were about making a statement. Every bite was a message, every course a conversation. The ancient feast was a performance, and every dish had a role. From the server to the entertainer, everyone contributed to the spectacle. Let's begin our journey into the world's oldest dinner party, where every meal was a story waiting to be told. Ancient Rome's elite feasts were spectacles of culinary ambition, where the dinner table became a stage for the most extravagant displays of wealth and taste. These gatherings were not just about eating, they were about impressing, outshining, and even intimidating guests, with the sheer abundance and rarity of the foods on offer. The Romans imported spices, fruits, and animals from every corner of their vast empire, transforming dinner into a dazzling display of power and global reach. From the bustling markets of Alexandria to the distant provinces, rare ingredients traveled thousands of miles to grace the tables of the wealthy. One famous delicacy was the dormouse, fattened in special jars called pluraria, then stuffed with a mixture of pork, herbs, and nuts roasted to perfection, and served as a crunchy, luxurious status symbol for only the richest could afford. Peacocks and flamingos were also highly prized, not just for their unique flavors, but for their dramatic, almost theatrical presentation. Their vibrant feathers and striking appearance made them the centerpiece of any feast. Flamingo tongues in particular were considered a rare and exquisite delicacy, reserved for the most important guests and occasions. These extraordinary dishes wowed guests and showcased the host's immense wealth, sophistication, and connections across the empire. Most Romans, however, lived a world away from such luxury. Their daily meals were simple: bread, porridge, olives, and vegetables formed the staples, with pork as the most common meat. For the majority, food was about sustenance, not spectacle. The extravagant feasts of the elite reveal a society obsessed with spectacle, status, and the art of impressing others with food. Every dish told a story of delight and impress the assembled company. Food became a map of the empire, served on a plate, each bite a reminder of Rome's reach and dominance. The table was a stage, the meal a statement, and every guest an audience with the host's power and taste. In Rome, what you ate and how you served it said everything about who you were, and where you stood in the grand story of the empire. Ancient Egypt's diet was shaped by the Nile fountain. Bread and beer made from wheat and barley were staples for all. The river provided fish like tilapia and catfish, often salted and dried for preservation. Marshes teemed with birds. Geese and ducks were hunted and also raised for the wealthy. The elite even fattened birds for their livers, an early form of foie gras. Cattle were symbols of wealth, eaten only on special occasions. Egyptians also hunted oryx and rarely hyenas. Their food reflected a deep connection to the land and river. Meals celebrated the Nile's gifts and the civilization it sustained. The Egyptian table was a testament to resourcefulness and abundance. Their feasts honored the river that defined their world. Food was both sustenance and celebration in ancient Egypt. Ancient Greece's rugged landscape and surrounding seas shaped its cuisine. Seafood, tuna, mackerel, sardines, octopus, was central, grilled simply or preserved for lean times. Goats and sheep thrived on rocky hills, making lamb and goat the most common meats. Beef was rare, reserved for the wealthy or religious festivals. Animal sacrifices were part of worship. Most meat was eaten during communal feasts. These festivals were often the only time ordinary people ate meat. Food connected Greeks to their land, sea, and God. Meals were practical, but also deeply spiritual. The Greek diet was a blend of necessity and ritual. Every feast was a celebration of community and the divine. Their food told the story of a people shaped by geography and belief. In Greece, eating was both survival and sacred tradition. In Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates, food fueled the world's first cities. Barley and wheat became bread and beer, the daily staples. Sheep and goats provided wool, milk, and meat. Mutton was especially common. Rivers supplied fish, turtles, ducks, and geese. Clay ovens and stews flavored with onions and herbs defined their cuisine. Royal courts and temples enjoyed the best, using feasts to display power and generosity. King Ashurnasirpal II once hosted a feast for 70,000, serving thousands of animals. Food was a tool of political power and social order. In Mesopotamia, a feast was more than a meal, it was a statement. The table reflected the wealth and ambition of an empire. Aztecs of Tenochtitlan built a cuisine as innovative as their city. Maize, beans, and squash formed the foundation, but their diet was rich with variety. The lake provided fish, frogs, salamanders, and even spirulina algae, dried into nutritious cakes. Insect eggs called awawals were a delicacy. Without large livestock, turkeys and hairless dogs were the main domesticated meats. Most people relied on plant proteins, insects, and aquatic life. Hunting added deer, rabbits, and iguanas to the menu. For the elite, feasts included rare game and in ritual contexts, even human flesh. This was not for nutrition, but for religious symbolism. The Aztec table reflected their environment and spiritual beliefs. Their food system was sustainable, creative, and deeply tied to their worldview. Every meal was a reflection of their ingenuity. The Aztec feast was a celebration of both nature and the gods. Across ancient cultures, the elite used food not just for nourishment, but as a powerful tool to display status and influence. Banquets were more than meals, they were grand spectacles carefully orchestrated to impress and awe. Eating rare or exotic animals like peacocks or camels was a bold statement of wealth and power. These creatures were difficult to obtain and expensive to prepare, making them the ultimate symbols of luxury. The spectacle mattered more than the taste. A peacock's tough meat was less important than its dazzling feathers, which turned the table into a stage for opulence and extravagance. The visual impact was everything. Serving such dishes impressed guests and reinforced social hierarchies, reminding everyone present of the host's elevated position. Every course was a calculated move in the game of prestige. In Rome, fattened dormice were a luxury snack, showing off leisure and resources. Only those with time and money could afford such delicacies, making them a clear marker of privilege. In Mesopotamia, a camel feast demonstrated the king's wealth and his ability to command rare resources, further cementing his authority in the eyes of his subjects. Food became a symbol, separating the elite from the common folk. The difference between a lavish spread and a humble meal was a visible line between classes. This tradition continues today with rare truffles and exclusive wine, where scarcity and expense still signal status at the table. The ancient feast was a performance of power, with every dish chosen for its message. Each ingredient and presentation was a deliberate act of self-promotion. Exotic ingredients were the luxury brands of their time, coveted and flaunted by those who could afford them. The table was a stage for social distinction, where every seat and every dish reinforced the pecking order of society. What you served said everything about your place in the world, and the act of serving itself became a ritual of status. The ancient banquet was as much about status as sustenance, a carefully crafted display where every bite told a story of power, privilege, and ambition. Not all exotic foods were about luxury. Many were practical solutions to local challenges. The Aztecs ate insects and algae because they were nutritious and abundant, not just novel. Geography dictated diets. Greeks relied on seafood, Mesopotamians and Egyptians on river boundaries. People ate what was available, making the most of their environment. Hunting and nose-to-tail eating ensured nothing was wasted. Even delicacies like flamingo tongue were part of a broader respect for resources. Ancient diets were shaped by necessity, ingenuity, and sustainability. Food choices reflected adaptation, not just extravagance. The environment was the first chapter in every ancient cookbook. Resourcefulness was key to survival. Behind every exotic dish was a foundation of practicality. Ancient people valued every bite. Their meals were a balance of celebration and common sense. The story of ancient food is one of both spectacle and survival. Ancient menus are more than curiosity. They're windows into lost worlds. Food reveals geography, social structure, belief, and ingenuity. The divide between rich and poor was clear at the table. Simple meals for laborers, lavish feasts for elites. Food marked class and power. Ancient diets were deeply tied to the land and seasons. People ate their homeland, understanding nature's cycles intimately. Sharing a meal built community and expressed identity. Whether bread and fish or peacock and camel, food was celebration and connection. The exotic animals may seem strange, but the human impulses behind them are timeless. The story of ancient feasts is the story of what it means to be human.